Is Africa 54, and check out our headlines 24/7 on voaafrica.com. After the break, with a generator bypassing the use of fuel, oil, or batteries, Malawian innovator electrifies homes amid skepticism from experts.
In a world ruled by credentials, laboratories, and billion-dollar research and development budgets, a barefoot teenager from the dusty trenches of Malawi just detonated the very fabric of everything we thought we knew about energy, innovation, and African genius. His name? Ernest Andrew. But maybe by the year 2025, we should just call him something else entirely. Energy. Because what he did wasn't just an invention. It was a shockwave, a ballistic missile, an uppercut against the established norms and status quo. The miseducation systems, the nation of workers, John D. Rockefeller, a middle finger to MIT and Harvard, and most importantly, knockout to physics laws and brother thermometer first and second laws. This 18-years-old genius inventions is a revolutionary movement against solar panels, wind turbine, battery industry, fossil fuel, and even more interestingly, those who called Maxwell Chikumbutso self-powered technology a hoax and call Maxwell Chikumbutso a scammer, the region of destructive and abusive skepticism, the high priest and police trolls. They better get ready to get roasted this time and fund another excuse to bury Ernest Andrew, because they have more coming that when we are done, everything about energy monopolies will be begging to be burned and buried alive. All the planned obsolescence will be cooking to death. Let's dive in deeper into the Ernest Andrew invention that ruptured the internet, torched the textbooks, and silenced even the most arrogant skeptics from Harvard to Silicon Valley. I was one of the skeptics, one villager said. But when I saw his parents' house glowing with light, I begged him to connect mine too. Phones are charging, clippers are buzzing, children are doing homework at night. Not a single solar panel, no fuel, no diesel generator, just air. And still, Western-trained engineers asked, but how? Their problem? They couldn't accept that someone outside their system could possibly know something they didn't. Ernest's invention doesn't just defy physics textbooks. It resurrects a conversation the elite thought they'd buried long ago: Tartarian technology. Once dismissed as conspiracy, Tartarian theories speak of an ancient civilization that built massive structures and ran on free atmospheric energy. They didn't burn fuel. They didn't plug into fossil grids. They pulled power from the sky. Sounds insane? Well, so does a teenager building a free energy device from bicycle parts in the middle of nowhere. And yet, here we are. Maxwell Chikumbutso was the warning shot. Ernest is the bullet. If you followed the free energy world, you've heard of Maxwell Chikumbutso, the Zimbabwean inventor whose self-powered generator cooked the minds of Western engineers. But while Maxwell shook the system, Ernest shattered it. Ernest didn't just invent something. He recreated what only ancient texts and forbidden patents hinted at, with no lab, no investor, no institution. If Maxwell was the lightning, Ernest is the thunder that follows. This invention isn't just about electricity, it's about control. Think about it. What happens to oil companies when you don't need fuel? What happens to utility giants when you can power your home for free? What happens to governments that use energy as a weapon, when villages can break away from the grid? This is why Ernest's invention has the Western world shook. Because it doesn't just challenge the science, it challenges the economics of power. And the world isn't ready for that. Engineers can't explain it, and that's a problem for them. Some Malawian engineers invited to examine the system voiced their confusion. What type of air is he using? What reaction is occurring? How is the energy extracted? But Ernest wouldn't, or couldn't, explain. And honestly, maybe he shouldn't. Because historically, that's when the theft begins. The moment African inventions are explained, they vanish into Western patents and reappear decades later, under European names. Ernest's silence is not ignorance, it's protection. Eventually, Malawi's government realized they had a diamond sitting in their backyard. Energy Minister Ibrahim Matola stepped in, offering equipment, training, and safety materials. More importantly, the government formed a team of experts to validate and assist Ernest's work. Such innovations, the minister said, can help us achieve energy access that is not only widespread, but also affordable and sustainable. They even gave Ernest the mandate to power the local primary school, the very system that failed him when he couldn't afford school fees. Now he is electrifying it.
Welcome back to Africa 54. I'm Vincent McCory in Washington. A secondary school dropout from rural Malawi has brought electricity to his community using what he says is a groundbreaking air-powered generator, bypassing use of fuel, oil, or batteries. Experts have questions about how the system works, but Malawi's government is pledging support. Lamek Masina reports from Dowa District.
Inventor Ernest Andrews' innovation largely aims to save money villagers spend in buying torches and batteries to light their homes.
After realizing that we were facing a lot of problems without using electricity, I thought of trying to make electricity. Now here we are.
The 18-year-old secondary school dropout says his generator produces 1,000 volts of electricity. He has now connected 9 houses from a self-made transformer.
This system generates electricity using air. To make a light bulb illuminate, I use power stored in bottles. I experiment with magnetic power to determine how much electricity I can produce. After that, I generate power based on the number of houses I want to supply.
But experts complain of Andrews' failure to articulate how he is using air to generate electricity, or they say he might be purposely concealing it to prevent others from copying.
What type of air is he using? We don't know. What air is doing to produce the power? We don't know. And he's not saying. How is he taking the air into his system to produce electricity? We don't know. And he's not explaining. So how can we appreciate? How can we assist as engineers?
Katumba said if he proved real, Andrews' innovation would be rated among the most extraordinary in the world. The innovation has convinced skeptical neighbors.
I was among those who were doubting his ability to generate electricity, which we can use in our homes. But when I saw that he had managed to connect his parents' house, that's when I asked him to connect my house too. Now life is simple.
The villagers use the free electricity to charge phones and plug in electric shaving machines. Andrew's mother, Evelyn Chinguo, says he dropped out of school in 2018 because of lack of school fees.
I am appealing to well-wishers to assist this boy to continue with his education, like sending him back to school to improve his innovative ideas, because the knowledge he is using now is inborn.
Minister of Energy Ibrahim Matola recently expressed appreciation of the invention.
Such innovations can make us achieve access to electricity. But not only access, affordability, sustainability.
Authorities in Dowa District donated training, electric wires, protective wear, and a gadget for measuring electricity voltage.
One thing that we're going to do as a district to make sure that whatever he's doing when he is working on the appliances is safe.
The Malawi government has organized a group of experts and identify areas to assist. In the meantime, Andrew is working to connect the entire village and fulfill the government's request to illuminate the nearby public primary school. Lamek Masina, VOA News, Dowa District, Malawi.
Let's be clear. This invention wasn't born in a lab. It was born from poverty, from a lack of electricity, from dusty nights without light. from being forced to drop out because no one could pay for his education. But from that darkness, Ernest created light. Literally, this is the kind of story that turns education on its head. Because while universities churn out conformists, Ernest followed the voice of inborn genius, an ancestral frequency no textbook can teach. Africa, you were never just a student of history. You were the author. Ernest Andrew is more than a headline. He is a signal, a loud, undeniable broadcast from Africa to the world. You locked us out. You laughed at us. You called us backwards. But now we are rebuilding the future with your scraps. And this is just the beginning. There are hundreds, maybe thousands of Ernests in Africa. Geniuses hidden in villages, drawing power from stars, from the earth, from water, from vibrations. What the world calls junk, Africa is turning into miracles. So what now? The world has only 3 options. 1, ignore him, as they've ignored Africa's brilliance for centuries. 2, try to destroy him, as they've done with any threat to their empire. 3, or embrace him, fund him, protect him, and learn from him. But whatever the world chooses, one truth remains unshakable. The future is no longer in the West. It's being born again, in Africa. Final thoughts. The world is waking up to a simple, uncomfortable fact. The most disruptive technology of 2025 wasn't made in California. It wasn't developed in Germany. It wasn't released in Tokyo. It came from a teenage dropout in a forgotten African village who turned thin air into light. And no matter how much they try to deny, doubt, or delay it, they cannot stop it. Because the air we all breathe now powers Ernest Andrews' village. And soon, it may power the world. Stay tuned, because there is more coming, and breakdowns of how this impossible invention is rewriting the laws of science, energy, and power. But just remember, when the lights go out on the old world, Africa will still be glowing. Do subscribe to my channel, turn on your notifications, and stay up to date. Now, if you will excuse me, ladies and gentlemen, I have a flight to catch and free energy to enjoy. Don't forget the journey of another self-powered car has just begun.